Ariana Grande shades Pete Davidson over his latest joke.
And Tana Mojo gets called out on the internet for her JoJo Siwa costume.
Watch the Kardashians react to Tristan's cheating scandal.
All that and more on today's rundown. Harry Styles and Timothée Chalamet talk about Harry Styles' new album, and you guys, you don't want to miss it. That's coming later.
But first, we're going to be talking about Tana Mojo getting slammed by a lot of people on Twitter for her latest costume. Tana posted her JoJo Siwa costume to Twitter and captioned it, "Ho Ho Siwa." Reaction to the costume was generally very negative, mainly due to the fact that JoJo Siwa is 15 years old. Twitter users spoke out, with one fan tweeting, "Am I the only one disturbed by this? Love Tana, but this feels like the sexualization of a child." Someone else pointed out that Jake Paul, who also dressed up as JoJo for Halloween, did it with way more respect. While Tana definitely received tons of backlash over her costume, not everyone found it problematic. One fan tweeted, "My chest hurts from laughing." Tana addressed all of the backlash in a series of tweets, saying that JoJo is a great friend of hers, and she would never intend to sexualize her. She said she loves JoJo making crazy Halloween costumes, and that JoJo was actually telling her to do it. You know, I don't know. I really don't know how to feel about this. I really don't, because I saw JoJo's, answer to her, and it was just not a big deal. But then you also, she's 15, and then to make it like Ho Ho Siwa just feels weird.
Yeah.
It's just a very tricky situation. But Tana had a bunch of other costumes that were controversial. The Michael Weiss one. So again, I'm really torn.
Maybe that was her goal this year, was to push the envelope as far as she could push it. Yeah, I agree. I think that this is a little tricky. When someone who's under the age of 18 is on the internet, it's really kind of a vulnerable place to be, because the internet is full of all kinds of people, and you do kind of open yourself up to a lot of things that maybe you wouldn't necessarily open yourself up to if you were not on the internet.
True.
So not to say that it's fair game, but I do think that it is hard being young on the internet. But yeah, I'm glad Tana at least spoke out about it.
Oh yeah.
Wow. So Pete Davidson just joked slightly about his breakup with Ariana Grande, and then Ariana Grande has responded. So it's been about 2 weeks since Pete and Ariana have split up, and in a promo video for this week's episode of SNL hosted by Jonah Hill, Pete Davidson jokingly proposes to singer Maggie Rogers.
Hey Maggie, I'm Pete.
Hey Pete.
You want to get married?
No.
0 for 3.
In case you were wondering, Ariana Grande was not having it, you guys. She took to Twitter surprisingly and wrote cryptically, "For someone who claims to hate relevancy, you sure love clinging to it, huh? Thank you, next." Now, she's since deleted the tweets, but fans are kind of divided, with some people thinking that the joke was funny, and a lot of other people are in support of the joke's ending. I'm pretty surprised that Ariana responded to this whole debacle, but this interaction to me feels like Ariana Grande broke up with him. And when their reps released a statement, they said it was a mutual decision to break up. But this sounds like someone who is annoyed with that person. It seems like she might have broken up with him.
Yeah, he's heartbroken. So I think, well, one, he's a comedian, so he's gonna handle things through comedy. But two, he's just been dumped right?
Probably.
Technically.
Seems
Maybe
like that.
kind of. So he's in pain, and I think it just made me feel really cringy. It was a cringy moment, and I just felt like Jonah Hill.
It's too soon.
Yeah,
It's too soon.
for sure.
But can I just play devil's advocate on this for just a
Yes.
second? What if someone wrote it? Pete Davidson isn't the writer on that show, and maybe
True.
they told them that he had to say it. So, I don't know what that's like over there, but I'm gonna play devil's advocate and say maybe it wasn't his fault.
Yeah, in a new little teaser clip that we got of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, we are getting a look at how the Kardashians reacted to Tristan's cheating.
Wow.
Is it for sure, for sure?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out.
We then see Kim tell the crew on set while filming an episode.
There's a video of Tristan making out with a girl last night. I know, Khloe's gonna die.
In the 2-minute clip, Kendall is shown reading an article about the scandal and Kourtney sympathizing with Khloe. But perhaps the biggest shocker is who told Khloe the news first.
So I'm the one that told Khloe. I didn't want to hurt her feelings, but I felt like she should hear from one of us versus on the internet.
Khloe was only days away from giving birth, and in another clip teasing this Sunday's episode, we see moments right before True's birth.
The only thing that frightens me is that she's gonna have this baby before I can get there. And then she's giving birth.
Hey, are you okay?
So yeah, in the other clip, I mean, we see how everyone kind of just dropped everything that they were doing to be right next to Khloe, especially after all of that. And it's so crazy because, you know, we live that on our side of things. And so now to see it all behind the scenes in a way, it's really eye-opening and heartbreaking.
You know what's crazy? I watched these girls' reactions, and it's almost like they're so used to this kind of like scandalousness happening. They almost handled it like such professionals. I would never have handled this situation the way that Kim and Kendall and Courtney did. I mean, you could tell they were very upset about it, but they were like unmoved. They didn't cry. They were very like, how do we help? How do we step in? How do we make it better? It just goes to show that they really are a tight-knit family, and they've been doing this for so long. There are very few things that can shake them. You guys, Christmas has come early. Harry Styles just interviewed Timothée Chalamet, and it is everything you've ever wanted and so much more. So Harry Styles interviewed Timothée Chalamet for ID Magazine. After Timothy spoke about some upcoming projects of his own, Harry revealed his sophomore album is currently in the works. So Harry said the process for his second album has been very different than the first because he's taking time with it, and he isn't focusing on releasing it until he's absolutely sure that it's finished. Harry and Timothy also discussed masculinity in this interview and what it means to them. For Harry, growing up with his mom and sister meant that he didn't grow up in a man's world. He also added, I think there's so much masculinity in being vulnerable and allowing yourself to be feminine. I'm very comfortable with that. Harry is known to challenge the concept of masculinity by wearing women's clothing, and he paints his nails, which are two things that society usually tells us is only for the girls. But even though he does that stuff, he also admitted while he was growing up, he had a completely different idea of what being a man meant. I definitely find through music, writing, talking with friends, and being open that some of the times when I feel most confident is when I'm allowing myself to be vulnerable. Timothy then responded by saying that's really beautiful and inspiring, and certainly it goes back to feeling comfortable in chaos and creating in madness. It's almost a high to be vulnerable. I really get that. I mean, I love this so much, and I kind of love that Harry is speaking out about masculinity generally, because I do think guys do face, I mean, women face a lot in our society, a lot of challenges, but I do think men do as well, and we don't really talk about those as much. But yeah, I think that men are told they can't cry, or men are told that they can't be loving, or, you know, they have to be like strong all the time. And I do love that Harry is trying to get the word out that, hey, it doesn't always look like you think it looks like.
Well, and I love how candid Harry and Timothy both were with each other, because even earlier on in the interview, Harry was talking to him about Peaches, and I don't know if you've seen the movie Call Me By Your Name, but it's like, it's a very important part of the movie. And so they were just like silly with each other, but they also like really delved into these issues that we need to be talking about more.
Yeah.
So following Logan Paul and Khloe Bennett breakup, we are actually learning a lot more that we didn't know about. So Khloe confirmed the two were dating in the summer this year, but it turns out their relationship started way before that. During an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Logan revealed that in December of 2017, Khloe tried to warn him about his increasingly bad behavior and the consequences it would ultimately have. Logan admitted that the trip to Japan was Khloe's idea. The plan was to fly to Tokyo with a small group of friends to film vlog footage and also celebrate New Year's Eve. According to Logan, a week before the trip, he had a fight with Khloe because he wanted to stay in a different hotel so he could have some space. Naturally, that prompted Khloe to back out of the trip. It also prompted Khloe to make a haunting prediction. She warned Logan, saying, "This behavior is going to bite you in the I don't know how, I don't know when, but you're going to crash and burn." So we all know what happened on December 31st in the suicide forest. Logan was faced with career-crumbling backlash for making light of mental health. And of course, Khloe had no idea what Logan would actually post from the Tokyo trip, but her foreshadowing was disturbingly accurate. I think it's interesting because I think she was probably so close to him at that point that she knew that he was kind of in a bad place and that he wasn't going to be making good decisions. So I wish that she would have somehow predicted the future, right, and like stopped it, because I think that affected a lot of people. It's just a I mean, but how? She's not psychic, I get it, but like still, you know what I mean?
I don't think you could stop Logan even if you wanted to, and even if you knew what was gonna happen. And unfortunately, I feel like, you know, Logan recently has been talking about how this didn't hurt him, it didn't take down his career, and I just, it's heartbreaking that people are still invested in someone who not only would do something like this, everybody deserves a second or chance, or even sometimes a third chance, but someone who isn't remorseful for their decisions, really, truly, it really is just frustrating. But, you know, Chloe Bennett is no longer with him, so she's making good choices for herself.
Okay, so I want to know from you guys, what do you think of Tana's JoJo Siwa costume, or Ho-Ho Siwa? What do you think? Do you think she went too far, or do you think it's a joke, it's fine?
Yeah, let us know. Also, let us know, do you think Ariana should have responded to Pete Davidson's joke on SNL? Let us know, and also just like, get to type in about what you think actually happened between the two of them. I'm actually really curious to know what that fight was like.
Yeah.
Anyway, let us know, you guys. It's Friday. Have a happy weekend, and we'll see you next week. But before you go, right here, you can watch why Lily Reinhart is apparently slamming Riverdale fans.
But before you do that, make sure to hit that subscribe button right there so you can watch us more.